Alright, we are watching Space Camp, who is playing Tank on Junkertown. It's going to open as Orisa, and this is a gold 5. I've been playing since Overwatch 1. I've never gotten beyond Plat. I don't have any mechanical skills, so I've just been spinning my wheels for years. And then they gave 2 codes, and they say that they usually warm up before they start playing. One code was for a win on Oasis, and the other one's a loss on Junkertown. I picked the loss on Junkertown because I think you typically win a lot more from losses than you do from wins. I played Overwatch so much, and I feel like I still have no idea what I'm doing sometimes. Of Overwatch 2, I feel like even worse somehow. It's possible. Obviously it is a different game, even though most of the mechanics are the same. I think 5-on-5 and the role of tank in particular has changed a lot, and what you can do and what you have to do to win games. So I think that's definitely going to play a factor in how things are gonna feel and what you need to be doing. Okay, cool. So let's watch. So at the beginning here. Okay. I can already, you see I paused right there because I can already disagree with what is about to happen. So, in Junkertown at the beginning, this is the way fights normally happen, okay? They get out of spawn, and unless you're playing like a Ryan, there are some cheesy strats that I've personally also had done to me, where Ryan will hide right here with the whole team, and you'll come out and you'll actually spawn game for a while. But generally speaking, you push the cart roughly to about here, and then the other team needs to clear this spot, and then high ground over here if it hasn't already been cleared. Okay, then the card is going to move to this corner, and then they need to clear this spot, and this spot to win. So, as on defense, your job is to prevent them from taking those spots. As in, if you can stand here forever and keep your whole team standing here forever, you will win, because they'll never be able to move the card because you'll just obliterate them from above. Okay, so as Orisa here, you start by playing like high ground, which I think is the right call, and then you immediately drop. And I just don't know what you see here that would cause you to drop. It's not a problem per se to drop. It's just nothing has changed from when you started here, because you opened the match playing right here, and then like you're like perfectly fine playing here, and then you decide, hey, I'm gonna drop right now. But like, why? And again, it's not actually the problem to drop. The problem is what causes you to want to drop, and playing with intention. Because one of the things you talked about is that you don't really know what you're doing, right? And I suspect that you don't know what you're doing because you don't try to think about what you're doing, right? So let's make an analogy, right? Let's imagine that you play basketball, and hopefully you are somebody who is aware of the general rules of basketball. Because I don't want to explain it, and hopefully that's an international enough sport that you can think about it. And you say, hey, I have a lot of experience playing organized basketball or anything like that. I just play pickup at the YMCA or local boys club or whatever it ends up being that you do it, right? So you're like, okay, I play basketball, but I feel like I'm really bad at the decision-making part of basketball. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm trying to, let's say I'm a good basketball player. I'm like, okay, can you run me through why do you, when you think you play, you're a bad decision-maker basketball? You're like, well, I try to pass the ball, it gets turnover. I try to shoot, it gets blocked. I try to do all these things. And I could say, okay, can you walk me through your decision-making process when you have the ball? What do you decide to do with it? And you're like, I don't know, I just do whatever. I'm like, okay, well, that's problem number 1, right? If you have no plan, if you have no strategy as to how you play the game, then you can't ever improve your decision-making process because it's chaos. It's chaotic, okay? The way you get better is you think, this is the information I have. I think this is the best decision to make right now. And so you try that decision. And sometimes you're right, and sometimes you're wrong. And when you're wrong, you can look back at it and say, hey, what caused me to make that decision? Oh, it's because I thought A and B, right? But you realize there's actually a point C that you didn't take into account. And so next time you're in a situation and you see A and B, you think, hey, does C exist? Oh, C exists. I don't want to repeat the same mistake as last time. All right? All of this is just a long-winded way of saying you should play with intention. If nothing has changed between when you were here, right, and a few seconds later, then there's no reason for you to still be standing here, okay? They just walked out of spawn on the top. Like, nothing here has changed. There's no Widow, there's no Hanzo, there's nothing here that would cause you to be like, oh man, I'm gonna get shot. Like, nothing has changed. If you want to play high ground, stay high ground. If you want to play low ground, play low ground. Suddenly switching like this, and I know it's funny that I spent so much time, we watched like literally like 3 seconds of gameplay. Suddenly switching like this tells me that you don't actually think about what you do. And maybe that'll be true as we watch this game out. But that's the first thought I have is play with intention. Have a plan. You know what my plan would be right now? My plan would be, okay, look at where my team is and figure out where I can play. So I actually don't want to play high ground here. Why? Because nobody's behind me. I'm not protecting anybody. I'm not creating any space. My team, for whatever crazy reason, is playing way far up. Sojourn should never be playing here, but it is what it is. So my healer, right, Kiriko, cannot heal me here, right? Luciu's not really your healer. So your healer, support, Kiriko, can't heal you if you play here. So I think I'm going to play this corner, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But I would have made that decision before the gates opened. And you didn't. You decided to play over here, just throw it like a cheeky javelin, and then you decide to run over here, which doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. So, I know you said that your mechanics are not very good, but the thing is, Overwatch is a first-person shooter. Like, there's a shooting part of it, and it's not always literally shooting, right? Sometimes it's punching or swinging or things like that, but mechanics are a part of it. And if you say, I don't know why I can't climb, well, sometimes your mechanics are part of it, right? Like, if you can't aim, then, it doesn't matter. Like, I could be the top, have the best game sense of any player in the world in Counter-Strike, but if I can't aim, right, or Valorant, if I can't aim, then it's irrelevant because I'm never going to be able to get a kill. So I'm going to watch, like, let's just watch this section of shooting. Right here. There is nobody visible anywhere close to your crosshair right now. Right? There's nobody visible right now. Okay, now maybe you could have hit the torb. Okay, now you're shooting the cart. Now you're shooting nothing. Now you're still shooting nothing. This is all this cart, right? Remember, this Winston is not visible to you. Okay? This Winston's behind the cart. You can see the outline because this is the replay. So you still have not tried to shoot at anything right now. You're just shooting the high ground. Now you're shooting the cart again. And now you finally start shooting somebody. So let's take a rough guess as to how many shots that was. That's like 5, that's 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, about 40 shots until you land your first hit. It would be my very quick guess. You cannot hit 1 for 40 and expect to ever win games. Right? Now, granted, this is a different scenario, right? They're not like up in your face, but my point is that you shooting like that wildly, like this is the way you look. You're like, oh, I'm just gonna spray around and hopefully it hits. That's not the way aiming works, okay? Aiming is you look at this Winston, be like, I'm gonna shoot this Winston. You look at the Genji, be like, I'm gonna shoot this Genji. Okay? You don't look like you're aiming. You just look like you're spraying. Right? This is not aiming. There's no way that these shots can hit anybody. There's nobody even visible. Right? Look. And then, okay, so we'll pause there. I just want to wrap up the aim point. It doesn't look like you know how to aim. And by aim, I do not mean, hey, here's a small point on the screen. Can you aim to that point? It means you don't even know how to shoot at people. And if you can't improve that, you're not going to get any better because that's a huge part of the game is pointing at people. Forget, like, can you hit them while they're dodging? Can you shoot at them when they're visible? Has to be at least be like the baseline. Like, don't push, I don't know if you're on console or mouse, but like, let's just assume for a mouse, so you're going to use a mouse, right? Don't push left mouse button if there is no enemy visible on your screen. I think we can agree that is like the baseline of aim that we're looking for. And you did a lot of that when nobody was visible on your screen. And to be perfectly frank, that can't happen. Not if you want to climb. Okay, the next thing is you pop spin here. Why do you pop spin? Right? You have 2 important cooldowns as Orisa, right? Defensive cooldowns. You have spin and you have fortify. Spin gives you about 2 seconds, like 1.75, I think. It gives you 2 seconds of projectile immunity. Fortify gives you 175 health and halves your damage and removes your headshot box. So you have to be careful, right? Spin has a 6-second cooldown. Fortify has like a 12 or 13-second cooldown, something like that. So you can spin somewhat freely. Don't ever use fortify like recklessly. But either way, don't use spin to do nothing, right? So watch here. Right now. Why are you using spin? Okay, you can't see it, but you are spinning right now. Is anybody looking at you? The Winston can't hit you from here, except for right click, and spin doesn't stop right click. Is the Genji looking at you? No, he's not. He's just looking high ground. Even if he was looking at you, this damage doesn't matter, right? He's so far away, like he's not going to kill you instantly or anything like that. Nobody else is looking at you right now. This spin is not going to do anything, and you just completely waste it right now. And you could use spin, for example. Okay, now you waste fortify. Okay, so I think. Oh boy. All right, so you have a very common problem that I see with other Orisas, which is you just push your buttons when they're off cooldown, basically. Right? It's like, hey, Fortify is available right now. I'm going to pop Fortify. You're at full health right now, and you pop Fortify. Okay? Now I'm spin, because spin's available. Now Javelin's available, so I throw Javelin. Okay? Now I shoot this turret. Right? And I bet when the spin comes back up, you're gonna use the spin again. Okay? Yep. See? Like clockwork. Right? And now again, like Fortify's available. Yeah, exactly. I predicted this perfectly. So as soon as your buttons come off cooldown, you hit them right away. Whether or not you need them, whether or not they're gonna do anything, you just punch them right away. And I can tell you this is wholly wrong. And I'm, in the interest of my own sanity, I'm going to stop calling this out, because otherwise every 6 seconds we're going to have to keep talking about this over and over again. Use spin to block projectiles that are aimed at your team, block a lot of damage coming from you, to do damage to the enemy team, right? Because it does up to 100 damage if you hit them the whole way, and to move quickly to a location, like for example if you need to ulti or cross a gap, or to bump an enemy off the map or into a corner where you can javelin them. Those are like the 6, I think I said 6 points, 6 general reasons why you would use spin. Every time you've used spin so far, none of those things have been true. Okay? I think you should watch an actual Orisa guide, because I don't think you know how to play Orisa. Like, I don't think you understand, like, hey, generally speaking, what am I supposed to be doing with Orisa's abilities? Fortify, as I already mentioned, gives you the extra health, halves your damage, gives you, removes your headshot critical hitbox. Fortify is used for critical moments where for 6 seconds, you need to stay alive no matter what. And typically, you use the 6 seconds either to buy your team time, or more commonly, use it to kill someone on the opposing team. Okay? It also removes CC, crowd control abilities, and movement abilities, so you can break yourself out of trap and grab and things like that. But typically, it's used to buy space for your team or to kill an opposing player. You're using Fortify right now where none of those things are going to be true. So, let's play this back as though it is not you playing, but it is me playing. Because I think that's probably the most helpful to think about. And I'll actually link some of my gameplay after this too for you to have to see it tell. So, right now, sorry, we're going to go back even further. So right now, what do? I just spam, right? Just shoot him. Shoot the Winston, right? Shoot the Winston, shoot the Torb, whatever I got. Whatever's available, I just shoot him. And I just play this corner. Because I know my team's over here. I'm trying to hold this corner as long as I can. I understand the Winston is a threat. So I need to understand where my supports are and get ready to help. So if I'm over here, and the Winston dives towards my Kiriko, I need to also immediately run over to go help the Kiriko and do damage on the Winston. Okay? But generally, I'm not popping any spins. I'm not popping any Fortify. Why? I'm not in danger. Right? I'm not in danger. They're not shooting at me. I don't need to worry about it. So you pop spin here, which is already a mistake. I would just keep shooting. Right? So let's imagine you did not use your spin. You're just ready to go. Also use Fortify here. I would not use Fortify because I'm not in danger. Right? So also let's imagine you also don't use Fortify. Okay, this happens. I would try Javelin right away. Again, because I want to help my Genji win this fight. You don't throw Javelin, okay, it's not great. Then you throw Javelin, that's not so good. I would throw Javelin at this Winston because I'm going to try to save my Lucio. And I would run towards him. Why? Because there's a good chance this Lucio is going to take a track that looks like this, and the Winston's going to try to follow the Lucio. If I can run over here, I can spin and block the Winston from killing my Lucio. Right? And that is exactly what happens. So, again, this Javelin would have been aimed at this Winston, not at the doorway, which does nothing, which would probably have stunned the Winston. But let's say hypothetically dodged it or I miss it, I would now be spinning forward right now to block this jump right here. Right? And then right here to stop the Winston, which would also keep my Lucio alive. So at that point in time, I would have, 1, saved my Lucio, and 2, put the monkey in a situation that he doesn't want to be in, where he'd be point blank with me and I can gun him down. You do about 3 times as much damage to the Winston as he does to you. Okay? His base damage is about 60 damage a second. I think yours is like 110-ish, but you're going to hit a lot of headshots at close range. Headshots are worth double. I'm assuming you're not going to do double the amount of damage, but you're going to do something like 150 to 170-ish. So you do almost 2.5 to 3 times as much damage to him as he does to you. And that's not including any damage mitigation from armor or spin or anything like that. Okay. You missed the Javelin, unfortunate. So right now, what do? Well, you have 2 options. 1, you can continue pressing forward, or option 2, you can back up. I think you want to press forward because your Soldieron's kind of committed here. Okay, and your Genji's playing with you. I think you want to play up here to the cart, stop the cart, kill the turret, and then look for opportunities from there. That's what I would do in this situation. Okay, so you play up here, which is the right call. You don't need Fortify right now, because again, not a big deal. I would turn right now, understanding the turret's not dangerous to anybody. Okay? Well, not really dangerous to anybody, because soldiers would get bumped back. So from here, I would Javelin the monkey, and then I'd run at the monkey to try to kill him. Again, you do a lot of damage to the monkey. Don't use spin. Spin does less damage than shooting does. Okay? Unless they have a way of stopping your shots. So don't spin here, just shoot. Right? And you could have javelined him into the wall, which does 100 damage and stuns him, which could have resulted in the kill. Right? So, once you got the monkey over here, I would not stop this. I would just keep shooting. Right? Why? Why not? Because if I do this, I'm doing a ton of damage to the monkey. He has no interest in fighting me, and I'm keeping him out of the fight, which is great. Now, at this point, both supports have dashed in. Okay, sure. I mean, I guess I'll keep shooting them because these two supports, monkey can't do anything against me as Orisa. Like, there's nothing they can do against me. So you could have farmed a ton of ult charge and potentially killed the supports in that situation. Now you see these supports are coming in behind you, right? You should not be shooting this Torb far away. I get he's low, but he's like too far away to kill him. You see all these people in your backline? Just turn and kill these supports. You know the Kiriko doesn't have Swift Step, so you can Javelin her and then kill her right away. Right? She doesn't have Suzu or Swift Step because you saw it earlier. Right? Suzu just came back up. Again, Fortify for no reason. You hit the Javelin, but she fades, which is pretty lucky, honestly. Again, pop him in the corner, don't let him out. Right. That's fine. So you're having a lot of trouble tracking here. You hit the Kiriko with your Javelin, I think? It was certainly close. I think you just barely missed it. So I see the Kiriko go in. I see your Swift Step. Now kill her. Nothing will stop her from you killing her right now. Just stay right here. Just shoot, and kill her. She has no defensive abilities at point blank against a full health tank. This Kiriko should die right now. There's no way this Kiriko should live. Instead, you keep trying to shoot the tank. All right, now you try to use spin. This is like an okay spin opportunity. All right. So, yeah, your aim is like frantic. Your aim is probably, I don't know if there's a mouse or keyboard, but probably too high, is my guess. Okay, so you walk in the middle of the opposing team, which is a gutsy call. Stay on the monkey. Alright, so your team's getting killed here. That Javelin is going nowhere. Right? You send that straight into the side of the bus or the van. Alright, there's no chance of hitting. You pop Fortify, which you don't need right here. Okay, again, they're going after your backline. You're going to shoot the Kiriko, she's going to Swift Step. You should know that, yeah, as soon as I'm like, okay, cool. Now you know the Kiriko doesn't have Swift Step. Go after the Kiriko right now. Yeah? Stay at the Kiriko, just stay, yep. This is the right call. This is the first time where I've been like, hey, I feel like you're actually doing the right thing. Okay, stay after her. Right? She goes again, that's fine, right? You did your job. Go back, figure out where she is, and now you know she doesn't have Swift Step. Okay, you also can think that this is a good opportunity for you to pop ulti, but no opportunity. Monkey kills your backline. Again, you're like, you see how everyone just kind of, everyone in general is just kind of kiting you around, right? They're just killing, they're doing exactly what they should, which is killing everybody but you, right? You see he can chase after Lucio, kills the Lucio, then he goes after your Sojourn. Your Sojourn's gonna die, then they go after the Kiriko, well, the Genji right now. So, how do you stop this? If you're like, oh, how do I stop this from happening? Well, first of all, Orisa's only an okay hero against dive. I don't think you're disadvantaged, but it's not like as strong as, let's say, D.Va, who I think is stronger to dive. Roadhog obviously is commonly played against Winston. But the biggest issue here is that you just don't have the mechanics, right? It's like, going back to the basketball analogy. Imagine we're playing 2-on-2, okay? And I'm on my team, right, with my partner, and you're on your team with your partner. And I've already learned that you can't shoot the ball. Right? I know that you can't shoot, you can't score. So whenever your partner gets it, because your partner's good, I'm going to double team your partner instead of covering you. Right? And then your partner is double teamed, so they can't score, so they pass the ball to you, but you can't shoot because you're not good at shooting, so you try to shoot and you miss, and then we get the ball. And we keep doing that over and over again, and we win, 15-0. And you ask, how do I deal with this situation? Right? How do I help my teammate out? The short answer is you have to make shots. And this is exactly what's happening here, is that you just can't hit shots. Right? You can't hit javelins, you're not good at the spin, you're not good at tracking people, you're not good at necessarily following defensive cooldowns, right? And figuring out like when you can go for kills, like the Kiriko teleported right next to you at point blank in a small area and you're not able to get the kill. If you can't hit people, you're not going to be able to climb, right? Like, the whole team just basically abusing the fact that you can't get kills by killing everyone around you repeatedly. And it's really hard for me to give you advice beyond you gotta hit shots. Right? I do think there's like lots of subtle things that you could do to try to improve upon this. Like, we could talk more about like, hey, how to control angles and how to like have steadier aim and things like that. But like, that's not really my job. I can't. A lot of people ask me, it's like, oh, how do you improve my aim? And I'm like, this is too complicated for me to explain in like a 15 to 45 minute video. But the short answer here is, you're in spots where you could have impact, right? It's not like you know, you're standing here and your whole team is dying over here. I'm like, you're grossly out of position. I'm like, no, you're generally in the right position. You're just not a threat. At basically no point in time are you a threat to kill anyone. I don't think you even get anybody below 50%. Right? It's like, okay, you force that. Monkey is a good target there. You decide not to shoot the monkey. You go over here, right? You're not hitting anything. Okay, you split the monkey, but who cares? It's a monkey. You Terror Surge, which is okay, but people have defensive cooldowns, right? You got the Kiriko below half, but that's the only one you gotten so far with ulti. Orb still has the sword. You got it almost below half. Yeah, now you got it below half, but he's still too far away for you to get a kill. Right? Like, they just aren't afraid of you. Good javelin. I think spinning up here is ambitious, but that's okay. Now you pop Fortify. Definitely shouldn't contest this. Oh, it's okay, Javelin. Right? Don't fight Coalescence. No point in fighting Coalescence. Alright, you do this to stop Molten Core, which I think is a reasonable plan, but the problem is you're kind of getting gunned down right now. This is what happens when you use all your cooldowns, right? They recognize, hey, they'll call out, Orisa doesn't have Fortify, Orisa doesn't have Spin, and then they just attack you. They just come after you and kill you. And it starts with the fact that you try to push this corner. Okay? On high ground, you're fine. Why are you walking forwards right now? Okay? Look at where you are. You have one Kiriko with you and the whole team, right? 2, 3, 4, right? With wherever the heck the tank is over there in your back line. So it's you two against 4 people, and of course Kiriko is going to get killed or forced out right away. Yeah, she gets killed right away because you put her in a bad position because she dropped to stay with you, which is what, I mean, generally speaking, she should do. But you're just in a really bad spot, and then you just get overwhelmed here. So it doesn't feel like you understand, like, hey, there's a Winston in my backline. Like, none of my backline's able to do anything. And then you bring your Kiriko into a really bad situation. Okay, you decide to go Zarya, which I think is a terrible call against Winston. I think Winston's very good against Zarya. So for Zarya, as general tips, I would say bubble for space, right? Not for charge. Really common A10 systems all the time. Don't bubble, expecting people to shoot you, right? Go towards them, make them start shooting you because you'll kill them, then you bubble. Again, talking about aim, let's watch. Alright, so you're walking out the door, okay? Full ammo right now, 100 ammo. You're shooting, 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 you're shooting. Okay, you got your first hit. You used almost half of your ammo before hitting a target. And again, that issue is not they're dodging and you're missing. There's literally nobody on your screen. Right? We'll come out this door. Again, there's nobody here. Let's pause. There's nobody on your screen that is visible. And then you just beam out in space like this. And then you finally hit somebody right now. This is gold 5. I hope this is console. But it truly feels like you have no idea how to hit enemies with weapons of any kind. Yeah, I think it's console because I'm starting to feel like the controller aim here. So it's like hard for me to give advice because again, like this is good position, right? This is actually pretty good tracking here, right? I wish you could do this more. You could kill this Torb for sure, right? Especially because the Kiriko's attacking. Zarya. Okay. I mean, you definitely could kill him. Zarya at 100 charge does 170 damage per second. So for sure you could have killed him very easily. Even if he's being healed by the Kiriko nonstop, you could have killed him. Alright, so you finally want to fight. That had very little to do with you, though. You pop a bubble here for no reason. I know she's taking like a tiny amount of damage, but not like a significant amount of damage. Ridiculous turret while you're here, great. Again, you're having trouble, you're just like right in the wall. So you have no bubbles right now, so you have to play very carefully. Your Winston is going to ignore you and jump your backline. So how do you do this? You step back so you are the backline and force the Winston to jump you, and then you melt him. Alright, Winston jumps you for some crazy reason. Just, again, yeah, I think this is fine. Just break bubble, right? Kill him as soon as you can. I think you want to play back right now. Right, so good call, going back. Right, blade has gone off. Bubble, I think it's an okay bubble. You really need to get the mega, you don't. So from the vertical view, let's watch this. Alright, once blade goes off, you have to turn and immediately try to kill the Genji. Because none of the front fight matters if the Genji doesn't die, because it'll just kill your whole team. Alright, so you're slow to react there. The Moira comes in, you had an opportunity to kill the Moira. A lot of missing going on right now. You finally go with the Kiriko and then you die. So they pop rush here. You should be looking for an opportunity to grab, right? Your whole team is basically here. I think looking for a grab, like for example right there, would be reasonable, right? Because everybody's here, so it's not going to get any better. If you really want to look for a grab, you want to step up, right? So right now, grabbing right here into the cart would be fine. It would probably pull all three in if you grab the cart. Good enough, right? Go for the Kiriko. Get the Kiriko. Right, Genji gets 2 out of it, which is great. Good, get that kill. Yep, right, just farm the Winston. So, you do the thing, this is very common for Zaryas at lower ranks, where you just pop bubble because it's up and available, right? Nobody's attacking you, it's physically impossible for someone to attack you right now because you're around a corner, and you just pop bubble anyway. And you're going to get 0 charge off of it. I think the game, we also, so number one, you pop abilities off cooldown. Just as soon as they're available, you just hit the button, regardless of whether or not it's useful or not. Number two is the aim in general is an issue, right? Just like a really strong issue, both aiming at targets, but also just shooting when there is no one actually possible that you could hit, like no one is on your screen. And number three, I think the game moves too fast for you. I think you have a lot of trouble just kind of processing. I've had other friends who played Overwatch who felt the same way. You have a lot of trouble processing like what is going on the screen. And as a result, I think that causes you to just kind of push buttons as soon as you get them to make sure that you get some value out of it, you think. But in reality, it's not helping you at all. Because you're not really learning at all if you just push things randomly. Alright, now you got ball. I don't think I want to try to play ball. Ball is an incredibly complicated hero, and I'm not going to have time to explain how to play ball. Are you playing ball for second half? You are. Okay, I'm not going to watch the second half. Sorry. Oh no, you play D.Va. You play D.Va. Okay, we can briefly look at D.Va here. I think going after Genji here is the right call. Obviously, you want to land up top. So the turrets here, it's honestly not a big deal. Like you can move the cart easily. I put pressure on the shield. Yeah, you waste most of those missiles, right? You could use missiles to break Brian's shield, for example, but instead you fire them at the Moira. This is like super far away. Going after Moira in general, I think is the right call, but wasting missiles there is no good. Ryan's on you. You come back. I think this is a good call. Right? Yep, use that to kill turret. Yep, good. I think this is actually a pretty good play. D.Va looks actually a lot better than your other heroes. Right? I think you're doing a good job making space right now, pushing it back. This is too far away from your hit. You get closer. Good. She swifts up somewhere. Right, go back to cart, see what's going on over here. Go for backline. That's good. Yeah, I would say your D.Va play looks significantly better than your Orisa and Zarya play. Like way better than your Orisa and Zarya play so far. Like this feels like a regular level of gameplay. Okay, I wouldn't fly straight to the Rhine there because you take quite a few swings here. because I think this is too early. Your team is kind of responding. I kind of felt that your team wasn't ready. I think you need to chill here before going, because you end up taking like 300 damage here before, and like your team didn't make use of that space. You see your team's not even visible right now. You should have waited. Right, and now you have to wait because now you're super low, so you can't do a lot. But like the good news is that you do have high ground control. Yeah, I think this thing where you kind of like dive through the team and then come back out is not good, because then the Ryan gets to swing at you. Right? I think you're actually better just staying on high ground. This is a swing, but you're taking a lot of damage with each one of these like flybys. Like honestly, staying up here is actually totally fine. Yeah, just kill turret. Great. Okay, again, get out of Ryan's range. It's fine. Yep, good. Go to Kiriko, which is too far away, I think, for me to pop missiles there. I probably force Swift Step and then use missiles when I know she's going to Swift Step. Alright. Again, I think your dives are just too wonky. Like, it feels like you really want to dive through. Again, you only do 15 damage on the boop. It's not that strong. I think you want to stay somewhere between here and here. Right? Somewhere between here, and just constantly keep shooting them. Doing this thing where you fly through them all the time on these like weird drive-bys is not actually helpful. So you lose one right now, you gotta wait. Wait, what just happened? Did you just throw a bomb? Okay. So, another great rule that I heard about D.Va when I was climbing all the way to GM on her in Overwatch 1 is don't use D.Va Bomb to try to get kills. Use D.Va Bomb when you need to use it to remech as a second life. Especially as you climb, people will stop dying to D.Va Bomb. Like, it's very rare that you'll ever get a D.Va Bomb kill. And you should kind of train yourself out of using that as a habit. You might say, okay, well, like, gold level players are bad, I can use it to get kills. Well, yes, but if you use your D.Va mech as a second life, you can also get kills. So it's not necessarily that you're worse off, like, using it to not bombing people, because you can just kill them regularly if you're good. So, let's follow this. You're on the Moira, right? Tracking. So, she has to have gone somewhere, right? And now, you should see... Okay, she's over there. Track her down. I think playing high ground here is okay. Yep, right? I think this is a good spot to just shoot the Ryan. Because you're on top of the Ryan, and they'll have trouble mitigating damage this close. Because you do a good amount of... I want to say you want to do like 220 to 128 plus damage per second up close. Like, you could have just sat here and just blown up the Ryan. And missiles in particular will increase that to like 200-ish damage. Like they can't keep up with that. All right, now Coalescence, don't mess with that. They're way too far away. All right, go for the more. Yeah, that's good. Problem is your team's dead now. You have to lose your back. But overall, I'd say your D.Va play looks a lot better. Like you playing D.Va from the beginning, I think you would have done quite well. Orisa's a really good counter against Ryan. Oh, okay, that was a really good javelin. Good. All right, you should also look for those melees. By the way, spin for Orisa blocks Genji. Kill turret. Alright, so your team's killed 2. Good opportunity to push in. You should know the layout of the map. They can't come in from here to here, right? If they go on the backside, they have to go all the way around. You're kind of looking for it, but she's doubled back. Kind of sneaky of her. Miss Javelin. You use Fortify. There's nothing going on right now when you pop Fortify. Right? You just randomly pop Fortify here. This is your worst Fortify yet. Okay, she pops Fade. She's 1 health. Good. Got a kill. I noticed you interrupt spin a lot. Like if you want that distance and speed out of spin, go ahead and use it. Actually get the speed. You should just walk into the Ryan right now while you get a chance. Okay, now go for backline. Right, kill turret. That's a good call. Missed the Torb with the Javelin. It's fine. He's gone. Yep. Just focus on cart. Go for Kiriko, which you could call. You missed Javelin. But again, you wasting your spin all the time means that you don't spin right. Like right now would be a huge time for spin, but you don't have anybody else to play with you. Okay, and that's the end of the match. So, in summary, I would say number 1, stop pushing buttons off cooldown. Use them when they're actually valuable. Number 2, work on your actual aim, in particular, like when you decide to shoot versus how to shoot at people. You're often shooting when things aren't visible. What else is there to say? I think that there's like Orisa specific tips. Like you just like almost never hit javelins, and then on Zarya you don't get nearly as enough charge out of your bubbles as you should. Yeah. And then on D.Va play looked okay. Right? I'd say overall I think your D.Va play looked far and away the best. I think if you were playing D.Va this whole game, I think you might have won. But even on D.Va, I think you do these weird like flybys that are not necessary. I think just hold high ground and just rain down damage until they're forced to back up. Okay, hopefully that's helpful.